Is their life? No, and I kind of feel the same way now, but when I was younger, it was different. And I don't know if you feel that way, but now who I am at this moment, their feelings are their feelings about stuff. I can talk to them about things, and if they don't agree with it, I still, like, for instance, they're very Catholic, right? And this whole meditation and yoga and the way I do my prayers is through meditation. My mom gives me a face like, like that's to her, that's not a connection to God, maybe in the same way that she views it for herself. So it's different.
Welcome to Permission the Podcast. I'm Dr. T, and this is my sister,
Silvana, and we are two regular people talking about spirituality in our daily lives.
Each week, we're inviting you to the internal conversation. So let's get started.
With your permission.
And we're back.
We're back.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So this episode is about
permission to disappoint your parents.
Before we get into that, I feel like we should maybe have a conversation about how we handled conflict.
Okay, you start.
Okay, so when I decided to pitch the idea of, okay, let's have a podcast, I talked to Silvana about it, and I said, the most ideal way to do it, because I listen to different podcasts and different people talking about different strategies on how to do it. And I said, the most ideal way to do it is to have at least 6 months in advance.
6 months? No.
6 weeks.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
6 weeks in advance.
Correct.
And you said, yeah, that sounds great.
It sounded amazing.
I think we did it.
I think we had it for a couple of weeks. We had a nice amount of episodes. And then, it got a little complicated with life. And let's step back. We were doing it face to face. I was coming to the city. I had to go after work, take the train or a weekend or not. And so that was the complicated part, that we were doing it face to face. But now,
well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So I feel that we were ahead right at the beginning, and then we used up all the episodes, and then we went ahead again, and that was good. And then we used up all the episodes, and then it felt like a yo-yo effect.
Yeah.
Did it feel like that to you?
No, I was okay with whatever.
Okay.
The whole 6-episode thing was a great idea, and it's more the way you wanted to do it. For me, it was like, okay, we're going to do it. We can have 6 episodes ahead. We can have 2. We can have 1, and I'm still going to be okay.
Yeah, I feel that you don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
you were just
I care.
Like, okay.
I don't care in that way. Like, I care that we have the episodes. I care that we're doing it. I care about putting the effort into doing it. I'm just don't worry about, okay, I know we're going to do it. So I just know.
So for me, it was an interesting conversation to have with you because several things. I kind of brought it up here and there. Like, okay, we should have episodes ahead of time. And you were like, yeah, because sure, why not? I don't think that I expressed like how much I wanted it to be structured in a specific way. So we had this conversation over the weekend. And I said, I can't do this if we don't figure this out. And I feel that we had the conversation and we did it well. What do you...
Well, you said, this is what I need. And I said, okay, I understand that you need that. So let's do it. You came up with the schedule. I agreed. And we have a schedule.
We came up with it. I feel that I'm also working with your schedule.
Right.
I think it went well because I was able to express my need and I recognized your lack of need.
My lack of need, but also I do have all of these things happening, right? I have work, I have the boys schedule for sports. I have, and it's October, although this is not going to air in October, probably. No, it might, whatever.
It will.
I work with this event, the Day of the Dead, and I make the puppets, and I'm really currently busy doing that. So October is a month that is hectic for me on its own.
So, all that to say, I feel that we were able to have a serious conversation.
Yeah.
And I felt really strongly about, okay, I don't know if I can continue doing it this way. And you said, okay, let's just change it. And then we changed it.
Yeah.
And it was just very, I don't think there was any kind of aggression. I don't think anyone was like really upset. I don't think anyone was yelling.
It's just the two of us did it.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, like, I wasn't hurt with you need your structure. You're different than me. I work a little different, and that's fine. We're different, but we're doing something, we're collaborating. So I have to respect your needs, and you have to also respect the needs I have with my time. And so creating the schedule together and sticking to it,
Yeah,
as much as we can, because, life also happens at times.
with
Last week,
flexibility.
like the other, what was it? Beginning of the month, October, I got a cold. I haven't been sick in 2 years, and I'm like, I think it was just my body telling me, you know what, you need to
Chillax.
chillax. So it knocked me, like I was resting for most part for a week and change. I didn't even go to yoga.
Yeah,
I
that's
missed 4
crazy.
days of yoga.
That's
That's a lot.
whoa. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Okay. All to say is that I feel that we landed in a really good place
absolutely.
and we were able to get through it really well.
Yeah, I think you're surprised. I don't know why, but
No,
okay.
I'm not surprised because
Okay.
we're us. I
Okay.
think I I feel that it could be an interesting conversation to have because people aren't seeing us, outside of this, right? So I'm
Okay.
bringing it up because there's an element of we can have difficult conversations and still talk like this and come to a reasonable conclusion and compromise. And, whatever the outcome would have been, I think we would have both been okay.
Yeah.
Even if that meant, okay, maybe we can't work together because of our schedules. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. That's true.
Yeah.
So, talking about today's subject, permission to what is it? Oh yeah,
To disappoint your parents.
disappoint your parents. And I don't know, do you feel when's the last time you felt like you disappointed them? Or
So I feel like this is a trick question because
yeah,
my parents' disappointment is none of my business.
it's
Like,
on yeah, like
like their disappointment has nothing to do with me.
is their life. No, and I kind of feel the same way now, but when I was younger it was different. And I don't know if you feel that way, but now who I am at this moment, their feelings are their feelings about stuff. I can talk to them about things, and if they don't agree with it, I still, like, for instance, they're very Catholic, right? And this whole meditation and yoga and the way I do my prayers is through meditation. My mom gives me a face like,
Right.
that's to her, that's not a connection to God, maybe in the same way that she views it for herself. So it's different. But to me, it's connection to everything. And that is God. And so is she disappointed? Maybe. And
Probably.
probably. And that's her stuff. I love her, and it's not going to change. And it's not like I'm, you win. No, I just totally, I understand where she comes from. In fact, I'm grateful that she brought us Catholic of a faith. And from that, I grew into where I am right now. Right. So she gave me a base, and the same base I gave my boys. I brought them to church. I brought them to mass. I wanted them to have a spiritual connection to God.
I need to know more about this. Why are you grateful we were raised Catholic?
I'm grateful that they raised us to have a faith. It was something my mom and my dad are very,
Yeah, they're both on the same page.
yeah. And so it sounds like a dog that,
Why is it still, how can you still hear it? Hold on.
because it's loud. Okay, I don't hear anymore. Okay, we're back. So, okay, so what I was saying is that both our parents are very faithful to the Catholic Church, but they have a really strong connection to God. They pray, they do the rosary, they're active. They're active in their faith. They're not just, there's a lot of people that say they're Catholic, but they're not really active in the faith. You know what I mean? So they are that example from them and us bringing us to church and, like the kindness, the things they do, that was a base, a foundation. And so I am grateful for that.
Do you consider yourself Catholic?
No, not anymore. I consider myself, I don't know, just connected
Like
to.
a recovered Catholic?
I don't want to call it a recovered Catholic. I just feel like I outgrew the church, but I also feel like I do understand and I do believe certain things. Like I still pray, and at times I do, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, because I'm so used to it. But it's still a prayer. Like I pray that way as well. So I'm a little bit Catholic, but mostly just me being connected to through meditation, through prayer, through being in nature, being connected to.
Jesus is my homeboy.
Okay.
So, were there any other ways you disappointed mom and dad? My mom and my dad.
Well, there was, one time. So when I was 18, I would move to Boston and I took a year off because I didn't want to pay out of state tuition for my first year at college. So I did a year and I worked and I was saving everything. I had two jobs and I started dancing in the streets of Boston with this Peruvian folklore group. So I was dancing in Harvard Square. We were doing events. And then I'm like, you know what? I want to be a dancer.
That is so awesome.
I want to be a dancer. And in my mind, I just imagine myself just dancing everywhere. And so I signed up to the conservatory for a couple of classes.
How was it?
Contemporary dance, and the other one was a stretching class. The stretching class was, I don't know, they made me stretch muscles I didn't even know I had. So the next morning after that class, I fell out of my bed. I got out of my bed and I went, blip. True story. It kicked I couldn't move. And so that was like, hey, I know you want to be a dancer, but there's all these people that have been doing it since they were kids and they can stretch in ways that I couldn't. And so I did it. I finished both classes, but I knew I was like, okay, it's fun. I love it. I can dance, but maybe it's not going to be my career.
So you took those classes and decided, I'm not going to do it?
I took those classes and decided this is way out of my league at this moment. Like way out. Just like the whole dancer thing, the following instructions, the 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, I had no idea about the counting. I had no idea about anything. I just showed up.
Awesome.
And, I did it. It's not like I quit, I paid for this class because, by the way, they weren't cheap and I was paying out of pocket, right? Like my parents weren't paying my classes. So, especially since it was dance.
Well, did our parents pay for anything?
No.
Yeah, no.
They had 6 kids and they couldn't. I paid my own way. So I made it through the class. Most of the days I would leave that class with like my morals in the floor, because I couldn't follow. I couldn't do anything. I was all the way in the back and I was like, man. But I showed up. I went again and again and again and finished the class.
That's what matters.
And that was on its own an experience. I liked it. I did feel defeated most of the time. Before even going, I had to make I would have 20 excuses why I shouldn't go.
But I would show up.
I showed up. And I'm like, you know what? You're giving this a try because in your mind, you're thinking this will be amazing. I did love the stretching class though.
I cannot imagine.
Okay, so when I told my parents I want to be a dancer as a profession,
I want with somebody.
they were like, no, you're not. And they made a trip to Boston just to talk to me about it, to talk
Stop
me
it.
out of it. Yes.
They went
They
and saw
did.
you? They never came to see me.
They went to Boston and they were like, they were worried. That's not a career. You're not going to make money out of it. They had all these, it's fun that you like dancing, but that should be a hobby.
It's un hobby. Wow.
Yeah.
They went all the way up there to see you.
Hmm.
That's really intense.
Yeah. So I know they were disappointed. And at the same time, me being me, I was like totally a rebel. The minute my parents were like, no, you can't do it, the more I wanted to do it. And so I finished. Like, I'm like, you know what? I'm not quitting these classes. I'm doing this.
Did you
Yeah.
tell them, yeah, I have a change of heart?
I told them, listen, I'm not going to be a dancer. They were like, oh,
They melted.
I love dancing. I just wish maybe you should have put me in dancing class when I was little. Ballet.
Next time when we redo this life, you're going to do this.
Yeah, next time, make sure you're looking at my talents and you're like, hey, she loves dancing. Let's put her in a dance class.
You know, they put me in ballet. You know, I was in ballet.
Yeah, great. Wrong daughter.
I don't even know how I would be able to do it. I'm too top heavy.
Anyway.
Seriously. I would turn and then just like flop.
Use your core, Tere.
Fine.
Anyway, so that I know I definitely was a disappointment when I gave him the news that I wanted to be a dancer. But at the same time, it's not like it stopped me. So I did give myself permission to, it's okay it's not their life. It's my life.
It's my life.
It's now or never. Okay. Don't let me sing.
I feel like there were several times when I felt that I disappointed my parents. The first really big one that I can think of was in middle school. Got suspended for like a week. And
what? Wait,
my parents freaked out and pulled me out of the school.
All right. Right. That's when you went to
and then
the
I
Catholic
went to,
school, a
to
private
the Catholic private school.
Okay, why were you... Explain what happened. I forgot.
So I was really close to my friend and someone was like being mean to her. And I got my friends to be mean to the girl that was mean to my friend.
So you were bullying people.
I was bullying the bully.
The bully. Okay, got it.
And I stood by it. I was like, no, you can't treat my friend like this. And my parents were like, you got suspended and now you're no longer going to go to this institution. I thought it was a pretty severe reaction to what happened, but I got pulled out of public school and dropped into a Catholic school, and I fell in love with Jesus. It
worked out.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that was intense. I mean, the reaction, just to think if my kids got in trouble, pull them out and change schools just from first time they get in trouble.
The first time, the only time, only ever. So extreme. That so extreme. Insane.
But they're a little, you know how they are.
Reactive.
They could be,
I feel like they're chill, and then like, wah!
I feel like they've come down so much, especially Dad, He used to be like...
Why was he so aggressive?
Over the top. I don't know. But he's so chill now. Chillax.
So that was the first one. I feel that that's a really good introduction to that time that you had your little church get together and Dad freaked out.
This was... How old was I? 14? 14 or was I turning 15? Or did I turn 15 here? Whatever.
You're definitely not asking me because I don't know.
Yeah, I was 14. I belonged to this group church, adolescent church group. We were huge. We were called Rostros de Cristo, which is the faces of Christ. And we would do all of these things, go to hospitals to visit, the elderly or the kids that had polio. And there was a polio hospital, and we do a lot of activities. And for my birthday, they decided to come over for, to say happy birthday, to sing. Oh, by the way, the Virgin Mary statue was at the house because I was hosting we did the rosary in different houses, and I was hosting the statue of Mary in our house. And then we're like, what were we doing? We were singing church songs. We were gathering. We were about to have cake or something like that. And Dad shows up and sees all of this, because there were some guys that were older in the group, and there were some younger ones, and also a lot of girls. And he said to all of my about 20 something people that was there that, no, you guys have to go. And he got really upset, like, why are all these guys here? Blah, 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 blah. And threw everybody out. And then he says to me, we're going to go have Chinese food, like a chifa.
Yeah.
We're going to go have birthday dinner. I don't want to have birthday dinner now.
Obviously not.
You just kicked out all my friends. We were singing church songs.
Was it late?
No, not that late. Because we ended up going to dinner. So it had to be like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Probably 8. Whatever.
By the time we went to the restaurant, it was 8 o'clock.
But also, how much of it was not about you? Because I'm assuming it was Mom's birthday too.
No, that was the day of my birthday. It wasn't Mom's birthday.
Yeah, but we were who were we celebrating for dinner?
Me.
Okay.
By the time I was like 14, 15, the celebration, I did have my separate birthday dinner or whatever. When we were little, we all forgot about my birthday because we would celebrate Mom, and the next day.
We would celebrate Mom, and it was like Mom's birthday after party.
Yeah. And I was just not a thought on my birthday. It's like, oh
yeah, you. Okay.
You. Oh, yeah, it is your birthday. Happy birthday. Good night. So, yeah, that was intense. But it was more a jealousy thing. My dad didn't like seeing guys around us. I don't know.
I feel like that's a weird thing to describe in English for some reason. Like, because it's so normal to describe in Spanish.
Meaning
that
that's a Latino thing?
It's more that he was overprotective of you. But
yeah,
in Spanish we use
jealousy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So
he was being overprotective.
Over the top, overprotective.
Like insane.
But
okay, so the next time for me was in high school, and it was a non-issue because I never said anything. So in high school, it was the summer potentially between sophomore and junior, or junior and senior, and I was talking to my mom about getting extra classes from Gateway to kind of do more during high school and things like that. I was taking pre-calc to take calc in my senior year, and I was taking something else, and she said, you can pick one more class. I'll pay for one more class. It's actually the only college that my parents ever paid for during high school. So she said that, and I said, oh, awesome. I'll do intro to psych. She said, you can take one more class. And I said, great, I'll take intro to psych. Because by that point, I knew I was going to be a psychologist.
Oh, wow, already. Okay.
Yeah. And she said, no. She just said no. And I said, I told her, I said, Mom, I'm going to be a psychologist. And she said, no.
No.
And then she proceeded to say, I will pay for math, science, or something like probably literature or something like history or something like that. And I don't know if I picked another class.
Okay.
But I didn't say anything. I didn't have an argument with Mom. I didn't say, yes, I am. You didn't, I just said, I'm going to be a psychologist. And she said no. And that was the end of the conversation.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I don't think I disappointed them by becoming a psychologist.
No, you didn't. Yeah. When the whole dancer thing, it did became a war. Like, yes, I am. No, you're not. Oh, yes, I am.
Well, in my mind, it kind of didn't matter,
Yeah.
because I knew that I was going to be alone for the grad program, my
Mm-hmm.
undergraduate program. I knew I had to figure out loans and things. I knew I was going to apply for the psychology degree. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that my parents would not be a part of my application. So it was almost like I was kind of like, sure. Like, okay, you don't think this is going to happen. It's fine.
Okay. So for the people out there that do care about their parents' reaction, how, or they, it affects them how their parents think, and to do something that they would not approve it alters their state, right? So they become anxious, or they're like, or they have this huge secret they're never going to tell their parents about.
Oh, I had that
And,
too.
you know,
Yeah.
what do you, let's talk about those people that are still living their lives later on in life, trying not to disappoint their parents and not living their truth or their life they want to lead or live.
Well, I feel this brings up the potentially second to last time, which was I didn't talk to my parents about my sexual identity at all for a while until
So you came out of the closet.
until I was engaged pretty much.
Yeah. Well, how old were you? Wait, you were like,
30.
yeah,
30.
yeah. I remember you asked me to be part of the conversation.
And that was more about I didn't want to figure out if they were going to not want to be in a relationship with me.
And that's when I would have been like, yes, you will.
Meaning
Yeah.
that it was more of I didn't tell them because of a preservation of our relationship.
Yeah.
And I was fine with that. I didn't care. And it wasn't until I was engaged that I felt the need to say something, because then it became a part of my life in a bigger way and in a different form of identity.
Yeah.
But I didn't personally have a problem with my sexuality, I think ever.
But you were worried to disappoint them, or you were worried that they will actually cut you off.
Yeah, I had some concerns that they would
Yeah.
stop talking to me, which would
And
also be their own stuff, but that's why I didn't tell them.
yeah,
Just told everyone else.
they, well,
They're old school.
they're old school, but also there's this story. Do you remember what happened with Maddie?
Oh, Jesus, no. I don't know what happened.
Okay, so I went to Boston to care for my older sister, and we lived together for a little while. And then something happened with Marisa. She was working, and then something would bother her, and then she would quit her job, and then she would get another one, and then something bothered her and would quit her job. And I was like, what are you doing? And I was like holding two jobs, and and I'm like, okay, it's okay that you don't have a job, but you need to find one, right? Because I'm not here to support you, meaning financially. I'm here to help you and, us help each other. And I was determined to save the money I needed to save so I can pay for my first year of college cash. And so when she was going through whatever she was going through, which was weird, she was
Did you even know?
motivational wise. She wasn't motivated to get a new job. So I was like, okay, are you looking for a job? Blah, blah, blah. So, and so I gave her, I forgot how many months. I'm like, you have 4 months or whatever to like
Figure it out.
figure it out. And I'm not your mom. So she couldn't figure it out. And so I said, hey, you got to move out. And that was the hardest thing I had to do, but I felt like I had to do it. And so at that point, Marisa was starting to connect with the church, her church. What is the name of the church?
Church of Christ.
The Church of Christ of
Well,
Boston.
Greater Boston Church of Christ, but like
And
blank Church of Christ, Hartford Church
right,
of
and so
Christ.
she had this friend and girlfriend, and when I asked her, okay, you need to find a place, she went to stay with a girl. Now, this girl had a studio as well. I think it was a studio and only one bed. So when mom and dad came to visit, okay, what happened? I'm like, okay, she needed to be on her own
Clearly.
because I'm not, unless you want to pay for her rent, because I'm not doing that. And I just couldn't because of the goals I had. And I was very focused on my goals. So, and she was living with or staying with her, and we went to visit. And my mom was like, okay, this is one bed. This is a studio. There's one bed. Marisa and this lady are sharing a bed. And they went there.
Yo.
Yo. And it became it became like, I'm not gonna talk to you if this and that, and it also the church thing. So it was those two things.
I thought
The
it was
change of
just the
religion.
church.
No, they thought she was gay for a minute. They did. They thought she was like, and my mom decided,
Why is that
okay.
the funniest thing you've ever said? That's hilarious.
And my mom was like, okay, she basically gave her an ultimatum. You're either going to be my daughter or you're going to change your religion and be gay. It was something like to that effect. I don't remember the exact words, but that was tough also, Marisa, right? Because she's not gay. And she was going through existential crisis.
Right.
And she was going through a lot. And so what I did was, okay, with the whole church thing, I started going to her church because I needed to feel like it was a safe place. So I would go to their events and whatnot. I never joined. They tried, but I would,
They tried.
They tried in weird ways, but they did try. And so just wanted to make sure she was okay. And she was. She was like, they were like generally nice people, the people she was around, but they were intense with the religion, but it wasn't my thing. But hey, she found her way. But mom had at that time, so if you came out at that time, that wouldn't have been the right time. What I'm trying to say, they weren't ready for it.
Yeah, for sure.
They weren't like, by the time you told them about your sexuality, mom and dad had shifted. They were different people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Has mom ever told you, I'm going to stop talking if you don't? Because she did that to me.
For what reason?
My tattoo. One of the, like a little tattoo. She's like, I'm not going to talk to you until you get that removed. And I was like, okay, mom.
I don't think I ever got that I'm not speaking to you like you're not my daughter unless you do this. I never got that from her.
Oh yeah, I got that with
Although
the tattoo.
the whole dancing thing was like intense. Intense. I would get phone calls. They came all like intenso.
Okay, so I'm not avoiding your question. I'm just saving it to the end.
Okay.
The last time was, I think, when I was getting a divorce, I thought, man, what are my parents going to think about this? And it wasn't anything to do, right?
Right.
I couldn't do anything about it. It really didn't matter what their feelings were about it because it was happening, right? So it was kind of, but I did have this idea of what's going on for them because of this.
And you were thinking mainly, I'm sure, their, Catholic background, how they view divorces and all of that.
Yeah, marriage is forever, and yeah.
Mom and dad have shifted a lot from where they were. I mean, the people they were when we were back in Peru to the people they were when we got to this country to now. Now it's the different people.
I do feel that lots of people do things to live a life for their parents. So live a life that their parents either didn't get to live or live a life the way in which their parents imagined their child's life for them.
Right. And I see that through sports. Like you can see the parents that are living through their kids, and then you ask the kids, and they're not as into it as their parents, like
It's
the
really fucking
intensity.
weird.
It's weird.
It's really fucking weird. Part of what propels certain people, this is going into your question, right? So, part of what propels people to succeed is often a early showing the report card and getting an A+ and your parents approving it, and then
Mm-hmm.
feeling love from the approval. Okay, I got an A+, I get
Right.
this much love. I get an A, I get this much love. I get a B, I get a little less love, right? There's association between doing and experiencing love, and that gets paired, and then there's a momentum forward about, okay, so then I'm going to succeed, right? I'm going to be the person that is doing the most, the person that gets, valedictorian, the person that finishes first. And all of that ambition is going towards, I want this approval from these original people, but then it gets transferred
Mm-hmm.
over to, I want approval from large groups of people. I want approval from my intimate partner. I want approval from the person that I'm in love with or whoever, right? So then it gets transferred on, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're satisfied or they experience love or
Mm-hmm.
they, are happy in the field or whatever. It just means that they were successful in doing the thing and getting into a feedback loop that is in a vacuum of their own doing, which can be very difficult, especially if there's friction between the thing that the person is doing and the thing that they
I
want to
know.
be doing. So let's take the example, right, of you wanting to be a dancer, but you started dancing when you were 5 or whatever. That and whatever you did, business, right, would be in competition because business is potentially the thing that will be, you know, what would be considered air quotes successful. And
Mm-hmm.
dancing, well, I don't know how many dancers are really rolling in the dough. You know what I mean? Like,
There are some, but
hey,
I
J
don't think
Lo,
it.
J Lo was my favorite fly girl. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If anyone knows that reference, I'm sure no.
So I understand what you're saying, and the whole approval thing. Also, we think, oh, what are the kids gonna think, or how they're gonna feel? Like you're always thinking of other people at times when you're doing stuff. And I don't feel like that's necessarily I wouldn't call it a bad thing. Yeah, you are aware of your people in your life, and you're trying to respect also their stuff. But at the end, if you want to do something with your life, it's your life.
It's
And
almost like the recognition of
yeah,
life is too short to be living it for someone else.
yeah, it is. Well, we don't know how short it is.
I mean, 120 years isn't that long.
Is that where you're gonna live? I was like, I'm happy with 111. 111 is a nice number.
Yeah, whatever. I'll for sure outlive you. No, I mean, it really isn't that long, right?
Yeah. And I don't know if this saying comes into mind, but the other day somebody, well, actually not somebody, but someone said, like, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I was like, yes, it is. Yes, it is, because I'm going to water it.
So it's interesting because I just went to an ACT conference, acceptance commitment therapy
Mm-hmm.
conference with the dude that made the approach, the actual dude that made the therapy. His name is
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Hayes. And one of the metaphors for the approach is, let's say you have an internal landscape that is a garden, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There are things that you on purpose want to water, meaning you want to nurture, you want to spend time developing, you want to feed it, you want to acknowledge what it is and be with it. And there are things potentially getting in the way, like the weeds, right? And being able to distinguish what you want to feed and what you want to grow and how to nurture those plants and how to essentially extract the weeds, but it's not an extraction because there's not really a process for subtracting, especially in our brains. It's more of an addition. So the metaphor is kind of like, what are you focusing on? What are you feeding? And that directs your attention to essentially the life that you want to live.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And it's not about mommy or daddy.
Or anybody else, really.
I would guess it's always about mom or dad. And that's my Freudian
Mm,
side.
okay.
But it's also morals and ethics that are forced or placed upon you that are unconscious. So, for example, you made a decision to stop practicing Catholicism. I made an active decision to start going back to church. You know what I mean? But those are
Yeah.
decisions that are made in consciousness
Right.
versus someone that was raised Catholic and okay, but just this is what I do. Like Sunday comes around and this is the thing that I do. Like, I vacuum my apartment because it's what I do, right? Not necessarily with the intentionality of having an ownership of, a relationship with God or Christ or whatever. And that's more the consciousness of what have my parents taught us role models. And there's a very distinct difference between what they said and what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
And they have been active, right, in their faith, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
modeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the distinction and knowing that I can choose different, but it takes consciousness to get there.
Yeah. I agree. It does.
The other layer is recognizing whether you're happy doing it. I mean, happy isn't the right term, right? It's more
If you
satisfied or content,
fulfilled, content,
fulfilled,
right.
right?
Like if it, and for many, many years, I felt fulfilled by the church and just going. Even like when the boys were born, I would like take them every Sunday. And also, I wanted them to have the base I had. Like I wanted to provide that base that I was given because I felt that it became also part of me, my kindness or whatever. It came from that base. And so I thought, okay, this is really important. Whether they, from the point when they were like, okay, we don't want to go to church anymore, I never forced them. Also, for the sacraments, I gave them options. You want to do it, you don't want to do it. It's up to you. It was not like you have to do it, and so it was an option. I gave them an option, and I'm like, and they were like, okay, well, my friends are doing it. I want to do it. And whatever your reason is, do you want to do it because it's you? This is your faith. This is your life. And so I gave them an option, which my mom thought was crazy that I was even asking.
Like they
It's
just need to
like,
do it. You just do it.
and she was like, well, you giving them a choice. And I'm like, yeah, I am giving them a choice. It's
Obvio.
their faith. And so she wasn't happy because she thought, what if they choose not to, right? But they chose to do it. So, and I'm like, hey, they're choosing this. All right. And so,
Well, I mean,
and
they also have priests, like
on the
the
side of the
other side
family,
of
yeah, the
yeah.
other
I mean,
side.
come on.
Right. So they were inclined to do it and they wanted it to do it. And I was happy with that. Like, this is your choice. I didn't want to force religion because when I was little, I felt that it was forced a little bit.
A little bit.
A lot of it.
that
So
that's an understatement.
until I became like, okay, I want to do this. And that became when I was 11, 12, like I was going on my own. In fact, I was going twice because I would go to my friend's church as well. And then I would go to mine. And so that became later on became my choice. But when little, I was like, okay.
You're right.
And so I did want that for the boys to have a base and they can build on from there.
It's all about the
And,
base, base, base.
if I can do it all over again, I would introduce meditation and all of this other stuff. But at that moment, I wasn't there in my path. So,
And it's still meditation. So I know that you have this secret yearning and expectation of one of your sons to become a priest.
no,
Just
I
admit
don't.
it.
No,
Just
I
admit
don't.
it. And I
No,
know which one it is too. Just
no.
admit it.
I don't have a journey for one of them to become one, but if they wanted to become a priest or anything of that sort, it would be whatever they choose, right? Whatever they're happy with.
I feel like out of all the professions I could possibly think of, that's a calling. That's
Yeah.
like a call.
I feel like my youngest son, he's very religious and like he's reading the Bible, he's doing all of these things. So I feel like I'm not sure if that's his calling, but he's definitely very into it. And I felt that way when I was young too. Like I started reading the Bible from cover to cover. And so I had when I was a teen as well. So I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell.
Don't worry, I was like that too. And I turned out fine.
I, I'm not worried.
No one's worried. Okay.
If anything, I'm glad he's curious.
He's pursuing it.
He's pursuing whatever is fulfilling to him, and I'm proud of that.
So, do you have any expectations of your sons?
I expect him to be happy. I expect him to do what their heart calls them to do. Have I been disappointed by them at times when they were like, when they had a big mouth, like they had an answer for everything? They would like, the teen years, they are in them right now. But at times, if they're like, nasty, they could be at times, but barely. But like if I had a couple of episodes with my older one, I would have conversations with him. What you said to me, I was hurt. It hurt me, and I was a little disappointed, but I love you no matter what, and I do want you to know that that was hurtful. And he would apologize with different ways, hugs, texts. I'm sorry, it was a dick. I got that once. And so just, but at the end, I always want them to know, yes, I was disappointed for that 1 second, but I also love you way more than anything, like no matter what you do, no matter where you go, what you decide to do with your life, all I got for you is love and support.
Right, because those moments are fleeting.
Yeah. And so I don't have expectations for their career. I just want them to do what makes them happy.
So here's another thing. Even going back to the conversation between me and mom about taking classes at Gateway when I was in high school, I could have had the argument because I felt very strongly. Like I knew fundamentally that my trajectory was to become a psychologist, more specifically a forensic psychologist, which is the title that I hold that I don't necessarily use. But I specifically sought out that degree and I decided that in high school. So if I go back to that conversation that I had with my mom about, I want to become a psychologist and she's just said no, there were two things that were happening. I was absolutely certain without a shadow of a doubt that this is what I was going to do. The aggression that would have come from that, let's just say that I engaged in a conflict with her there and then. I feel that there's several things happening there. It's something that wasn't present in the moment, meaning in high school, I had made a decision, but I went through 23 years of schooling, right? So it took a really long time and path and trajectory for me to get there. So when I made that decision, it was a decision based on something that I had to take a step every single day to get to, which was not present. So in high school, I was just in high school. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So having the argument with my mom then, to me, even then, as a high schooler, it just didn't make any sense. It didn't make sense because it wasn't present, meaning I wasn't already in pursuit of the degree. And I had a specific plan that didn't include my parents, meaning I was applying for colleges specifically for psychology. And
Right.
that was not with their help or their money, right? So I think that there was some freedom there because there wasn't a dependency on them because I was doing it on. If I switch the conversation and think about it from the lens of my parents are going to be paying for this, they're wanting me to become
A different kind of doctor.
a mathematician, like whatever. I don't know if I could have become anything else. Like, even if I think back and I think, okay, my parents are going to pay all of my schooling, they're demanding that I do something, either science, math, or the attorney, medical, whatever. Even if those conditions were present, I don't know if I could have done anything else.
That's great. Well, I mean, that you knew
I don't
from
know
high
if that's great.
school. No, it is great because, like, just think of all the years that I went from, like, I want to be a dancer. I want to be a nurse. I want to, I want to be an accountant. I'm not any of those three things. I do dance salsa. But, like it took me a while to find where I wanted to do. And if I could do it all over again, I probably would have done something more in the arts. Meaning that at the end, did I really do what, like, my vocation? I'm like, I have all of these credits. I had business school credits. I'm like, just find something that aligns with you. And in that, I wasn't going to be in college for the rest of my life, right? So I did international business management double major, and that was great. But is it like my passion, like the way you speak of it, of, psychology, like you knew and you couldn't have done anything different? I feel like, no, I could have done something different for sure. I could have done.
Yeah, I can't even. I mean, I'm thinking about it now. I'm thinking of myself back then. I'm thinking of who I was, what was around me, what was in my environment.
Hmm.
And there was nothing else. There was literally nothing else. I mean, okay, I did start writing then as well. So
Okay.
I did go into writing classes. I was into French. So
Yeah.
a French film critic, maybe. I don't know. No, I was writing poetry actually back then. I was writing poetry. I was
In
writing.
French?
No,
No. Okay.
my French teacher said I was good, but I feel now I don't believe her. I took I took French in UConn,
Mm.
the University of Connecticut. So even thinking about it now, there really wasn't anything. And okay, so I said two things. So one is the fact that the thing wasn't in my current reality, meaning I knew that I was a high school student and I had to live under my parents' home, and I don't think I was ever disrespectful.
Right, but also, and that's mature of you, but, like, why stir the pot? Why when, later on, just do your thing?
Well, I mean, the disrespectful piece, meaning I cannot imagine having a conversation with mom where she says, you're not gonna be a psychologist, and have a calm, cool, collected conversation. I don't think that could have happened.
Mm.
And so I was never, not never, I'm sure I was at some point, but generally I wasn't yelling at my mom and dad. Things that were said between us were not. I wasn't ever raising my voice or aggressive. When they said do this, I did it. Actually, that reminds me of a different conversation that I had with dad, that it was also kind of a expectation thing. I had this whole plan to go into the Marines,
Mm.
and
Yeah, I remember that.
I was going So I was looking into that when I was in high school, and it was one pathway to become a psychologist as well, or go into the FBI and be a psychologist. But the psychology piece was always there. So I was talking to a Marine recruiter, and my dad has never asked anything of me before this nor after this. Well, he's like, when are you going to come visit? But that's not really like
Big ask.
right. And I try to go visit. My next visit is going to be in November, but that's a side tangent. So he sat me down and he said, basically, listen, daughter, I have never asked anything of you. And I said, fair. Yes, true. Go
Mm-hmm.
on. Can you do me one favor? And I was like, nah.
Depends on the favor.
And he said, go to UConn, University of Connecticut, for 1 year. That's all. And if after that 1 year you want to go to the Marines, I support you. And I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no because he made a clear point to say, I haven't asked anything of you, which is true. And he's given us everything. He also didn't say, you're not going to do this. Mm-hmm. So he was really
Clever.
really allowing me
Yeah.
to have my own voice, my own choice.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
that's
that was,
where the ask was.
right. And also a clever way to get you to do it was a compromise, right?
Yeah. And the way in which he did it, I don't think there was any way I could have said no.
Yeah.
Because of how he said it. And I said, okay. And I went to UConn, and I never, ever, ever thought about it ever again. But that was one where he had this idea. He didn't want me to go into the Marines. And also, I mean, I would have done well, I'm sure, right?
You don't feel like they saved you.
I love my life, so it's great. I don't know what it would have been like if I had went,
Mm-hmm.
For a really, really long time, I thought, man, thank God they saved me from that. And now it would have been fine. Like, if I look back and reflect, I mean, I'm pretty strong. I'm pretty fast or whatever. I'm sure I could have met all the health criteria. I have pretty good discernment. I can make decisions on the fly. It could have been fine. But for a long time, I did think that, wow, my dad saved me. But it was a great trajectory. We're here.
Maybe he did,
Yeah.
Yeah, so great.
So the permission here is allowing yourself to be in the seat of power, allowing you to make the decisions with discernment. And the conflict is we want to honor our parents. I mean, even that example, I did have a desire and a drive to go into the Marines, and I wanted to honor my father's request. That's also one of my values, right? Honor, integrity.
But it's not like he has to go to 4 years. It's like 1 year.
Right.
Like, it's not like he was like,
get an undergrad degree and then we'll talk.
Yeah. So it was, I think it was a fair ask. And
one I couldn't say no to.
Yeah. And so that's why I say he was really clever. In the delivery, I need to take notes. But yeah, just being you and deciding for you, because it is you that has to do the career you chose. It is you that has to work.
It's you that has to show up.
It's you that has to show up, not your parents. You can honor them in many ways.
And also, you
don't have to sacrifice your passion or your will to do certain things.
Yeah, and there's a uniqueness to you, right? Meaning someone was, at my ACT conference, the presenter was pointing out how, our fingerprints are unique, and there's mathematically it's impossible to be recreated, right? So that uniqueness can be embraced. And that uniqueness can provide something that hasn't been seen in the world because that is you. And so that the concept of, I'm just going to do what my parents did, sure. And at the same time, that's impossible because they, as individuals, are unique people and not even they are doing it like each other, right? So let's say my parents are blank, attorneys. They're still an attorney in their own individual ways. So it's almost like being able to sit with, how can I bring whatever's uniquely me and into a living something, right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So give yourself permission to be yourself. And that
And
could mean,
that could mean disappointment, but also it's not going to last forever,
no.
And you have conversations with your parents or people that are really important in your life, because although we're talking about parents, at times it's not the parent that people, I don't want to disappoint. It could be a spouse, or I don't know, a sibling, or I don't know, whatever.
Or an ideal self.
Yeah. So just do what your heart calls you to do. And if it's not the right place to be, you'll find your way to a different place. And there's always a lesson to everything. Just like me, right? With the dancing. I figured out, okay, it sounded like a great idea.
Yeah.
I followed through as much as I could. Maybe I could have done more, but I mean, I knew that was not so. And then I regrouped and went in a different direction.
Permission to let your freak flag show. Wave it. Okay. This is what we have for you this week. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Parents, and we'll be back next week.
And that is all we have for you this week.
Make sure you follow Permission to Podcast.
And we'll be back next week with your permission.